while I'm editing a bit of stuff, while I'm uploading a bit of stuff, while I'm just trying to get ahead relatively quickly in the day, which is indeed something that I enjoy in general. Doing most of the work pretty early in the day so that I am done with it, so that I do not have any stress anymore, and or actually mitigate stress. Of course, sometimes things happen. Of course, sometimes people need something from me, and or just I need to do something, whatever. But mitigating the stress as best as I can and as much as I can early in the day, well, or actually in general, by putting things early in the day is a really good strategy. And it really makes sense, but it really highly depends on how you work. Some people are able to work better in the evening or just in the night and want to sleep in the morning and whatnot. But I am kind of the opposite. It is pretty interesting. On some days I really hate sleeping. I just do not want to sleep because I want to do whatever I want to do and I want to get ahead with whatever I want to get ahead with. And then some other days I just really just want to fucking sleep. But most often I do just be present, whereas just being asleep is, being asleep, you're not really able to do anything but sleeping. And so I tend to do a lot of things in the morning, even if sometimes, and I really gotta be honest here, I feel like not doing enough then at noon or just at some other days, some other times of the day, which is a tiny bit of a pity and a little bit stressful then, and it really is pissing me off from time to time because I feel like, well, I've done everything, and well, obviously I could do more. I could do more of the things that I'm just doing. But is this sensical? Isn't this again a cycle of, okay, I'm having a bit more time, so I'm gonna do a bit more, and tomorrow is gonna be the exact same. So in the end, you're not basically preparing yourself for tomorrow, because tomorrow you're gonna do the exact same thing again and again, and in the end it is an endless cycle of just working instead of maybe using your time to relax a bit and enjoy your time, enjoy your days, and enjoy things. Which I don't know. We could once again talk about balance, work-life balance. Trying to figure out in which way you can shift things so that you can enjoy your day as much as you can, or as much as possible actually, which might actually indeed also mean for me doing most of the things in the morning, so that at noon, afternoon, and whatnot, I do just have some time left for doing the things that I want to do. Cycling, drawing, working on some projects that I do not have the time for, but maybe something that I should be doing might be laying down a bit, and might just be also resting or meditating, or just doing something else that is more or less mindless, where just, I'm not straining my body, because in the past few weeks, I guess, I have really noticed that I've been straining my body really, 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 really a lot, and also my mind. And it's not smart. And it is especially not smart when you're in such a position as I am, where I can basically structure my day in a way I want to do. Of course, still at uni, still studying and whatnot. So in the end, I do have certain things that I need to be doing at certain times. Of course, it's not a complete free structural entity that I can just, transform in whatever way I want to. That's not the case, It's not really possible, to some degree at least, but still, there is some choices that I can make. And it boils down to self-awareness. As I said before, for me, just in the morning, things work out quite well. For you, it might just be the complete different or opposite, or might just be different. That you can work really well in the evening or maybe at noon and whatnot. But, it really makes sense to think about your day and think about the things that you need to be doing and really try to structure them as well as you can. Which means in the end, for me at least, Well, what is important in my life? Okay, having a good diet. Okay, working out. Okay, just working on the things that I want to work on. Just having the podcast, having the YouTube videos, and all of these things. These are of importance or important. No, yeah, importance for me, and I just want to do these things. So how can I structure my day in the best way possible so that I can do all the things while still being happy and also healthy? Pretty important um, factors, because this just ensures that you can do this long term and you're able to do it over months and years and whatnot, which in the end is going to result in results. It's going to result in accomplishments and success and whatnot, because everything takes time and everything takes patience and everything takes consistency. Consistency, as I've also seen over the past 3 years, I guess, is very important. From time to time, things are working out, and from time to time, things do not work out. It is just what it is. It is inevitable, and be prepared for that. Which also I can talk about patience now. Okay, on some days it's just not going to be good, or maybe not as good as on some other days. But still, there's going to be a valley, and whenever there is a valley, there's also going to be a fucking peak of a mountain. So whatever you might be encountering, whatever low period you might be encountering at this point of time, be sure that there is going to be a peak again. It is inevitable, because there's only a valley because there is a peak. If everything would be constant, there's whether or neither a valley nor a peak. Then it's kind of flat, which in and of itself is a bit boring, and it already sounds a bit boring. Just think about a movie, or I'm actually indeed thinking about a game. A 2D game, and you're having a flat line or a flat ground, and you're jumping along this path. Maybe there are some monsters, maybe there are some enemies, maybe there are some tasks that you need to be doing, but in the end, there's always that flat line. There always is flat ground, the same thing. It is boring. It really is boring. But when there are valleys, different structures, different types of grounds and whatnot, it becomes interesting. All of a sudden, just magic trick. No. But I think it is the exact same thing in design as well. It's the exact same thing when you're just making something that needs to be contrast, that needs to be some variance. Of course, having structure, of course, having having a grid when it is about graphic design, or just having some sort of organization, or just organizing your elements in a certain way. It really is important. It ensures that, which is actually very interesting. When you're using a grid, you can notice that. For whatever reason, I still don't know why, but you can really notice that this person used a grid, because all of a sudden things just seem to just be working out quite well. All of a sudden, for whatever reason. I don't understand yet. But our eye just notices these things. When things work, we see them. This is partly the reason why I think that most people know what good design is and what good art is and what aesthetics are, because we all can say, well, this for whatever reason works. I don't know why, and knowing why is what makes somebody, I think, an artist or a designer or just some creative professional, just knowing what works and why things work. Just having a look at a picture, even if it's fine art, even if it is some Van Gogh picture or painting, so to speak, knowing why it works, knowing why it looks good, knowing why it seems to be great or it feels great. Really often it is more or less a feeling that we all just have. I can show you 2 pictures, and one is going to be better than the other one, but most people do not really know why. Anyway, coming back to variance in life, having contrast, different rhythms, rhythms. In the end, a lot of these principles and a lot of these things, maybe main points in life, or values or factors. I think factors is indeed a good word. By tweaking factors, you can just actually tweak a lot in your life. And most often these really important factors and really important points and variables. I actually like variables even more than factors. They kind of are connected to each and another. So when you're just having a lot of contrast in life, well, what is this gonna boil down to, or what is this gonna lead to as well at the same time? Well, maybe it might mean that you're not having enough rest, which is a negative thing. But of course, it might be also a positive thing of, okay, you're having a great balance of rhythm and arrhythm, because you just have this variance, you just have this contrast, and you're maybe also ensuring that you're being happy and healthy and whatnot. And well, in design, it's the exact same thing. Of course, if you're having good contrast, in the end, you're also going to have good relations, between those elements, because you have in the contrast, you have the variability in size, and at the same time, you're also going to have this interesting vibe. Maybe you're also going to have a center, because once again, you're having this contrast of, okay, this is where things play a big role, or this is where just the main part of the design is, or of the life is, and outside there is not too much, because to have a center and to have a main point, to have an epicenter, you also need to have some elements, some parts, some spaces in life, some spaces on design where things are just not as dense, and not as not as maybe interesting, but one really needs to think about the fact that interesting things are interesting because other things are not interesting. It is kind of always about this, is it ambivalence? Actually, no. Well, I think it's, kind of yin and yang, On the one hand, you're having this, and on one hand, you're having that. But to have this on the one hand, you need this on the other hand. Pretty interesting, if you think about it. It might also be a way to make sure that you're having a good life and that you're feeling great. I'm just thinking about it. Of course, it might be a bit strange to consciously and on purpose dive into depression just because you know that you're gonna feel great afterwards. If this makes any sense. It's kind of strange to think about it. It could work theoretically. I'm not gonna try it. I'm not gonna take on this challenge, indeed. But it's simple in the end, as so many other things in life and in profession and in design and in arts. It is fairly simple, but becoming a professional and or very good at this craft that you're doing, it takes time and energy and really often also talent. In the end, though, one could indeed argue that talent is something that, it's not necessarily something that you need, but it is great to have. Of course, when you're talented at something, it's probably going to be something that you're good at, and because of that, it's probably also going to be something that you really enjoy and really like. And so it's sensical also very often that we like doing those things that we like, that we are good at, just because it feels great, For most people, of course, some people really do also as well find joy in the learning process and just trying to get better and trying to achieve a certain whatever. But yeah, I think mainly people enjoy things that they are good at. But once again, to notice that you're good at something, you also have to know and see that you're not good, that you're not being good at something else. Once again, this contrast, once again, this, having the negative to have the positive, and also vice versa. But yeah, I think that I'm gonna end the stream there. Actually, in the past few days, I have been streaming for a really long time. So I don't know, 20 minutes plus, even also 30 minutes plus. The episode that I'm just exporting is 35 minutes, which is indeed really long for my standards at these days. Back in the days, I was just always uploading 60 minutes episodes and was recording them as well and whatnot, but not necessarily something that I'm gonna do now. Not necessarily something that I'm gonna do again. Also, not only because I feel like it is a lot of time for me, but also I think that nobody's just gonna watch it, and nobody's willing to watch. It really depends on the context and content and what I'm talking about and how it is prepared and whatnot. But I would argue that most people are not gonna watch a 60-minute episode. So it's always like, is it worth my time? Is it worth my effort in comparison to what I'm getting out of it? Quite, something to really think about, something to really consider. Unless, of course, it is just something that you so completely enjoy that time flies. And this is actually why the latest episodes have been so amazingly long in comparison, because I've just really enjoyed them. Maybe it's because of the topics that I've been talking about, but maybe as well it is about something else that there's going to be a future video on. Maybe even quite an elaborated video on, maybe also a bit fancy, but you're gonna see, and I'm gonna see. I just have to decide on that up to this point. But this might take a month from now. Could be the case. I don't really know. Anyway, I'm gonna see you the next time, and I wish you the best, and I'll see you soon. So bye bye.